All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mack here on 1010XL's podcast platform, 1010XL.com, the 1010XL app, of course, live on Facebook, on my personal Facebook, and then recorded right here in the 1010XL podcast studios. And that recording will be put on our YouTube channel, 1010XL YouTube channel, on the Jaguar channel as well. You can also check all of my content out at TommyMac.net, and you'll see Team Tommy Mac there as well. And we'll talk about Team Tommy Mac, a great group of businesses that I love endorsing. Listen, had a great weekend overall. But as I was saying before we started the show, in the past week, I've had people, really good friends of mine that have passed on to the good Lord. It's been kind of wild. I was talking about defensive coordinator Dick Duran, our first defensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I remember the first time I met him. I was had a meeting in the trailers out in the parking lot. It wasn't paved yet. It was all dirt. They were working on the Gator Bowl, as it was called. And he's in the trailers, and he knew about me. And he's like, all right, this is your third try. I said, this is it. This is my final try. He's like, well, let's give it a go. I was like, thank you, Coach. And made me feel really good. Hey, Dale, good morning to you. Good morning, Jeremy. But Dick Duran passes at the age of 74. What a great legacy he left behind. Brian Porter, my friend KP's older brother, passed away due to cancer. Struggled and fought it tough for 10 months, but did not make it. And Kevin and I and Brian went on a trip to the Super Bowl to do the Suck It Up tour and had a great time, a lot of memories. Belle Staley, who recently passed in her 80s. What a beautiful, kind soul. So sweet. She's going right to the top. Let me tell you, she's got an escalator to the top. Chris Moulton, who I worked with at Ewing. I did not know he passed, man. What a great guy. We spent a lot of time together. He had moved on to Colorado, got into the weed business, and had a car crash. And then I know a lot of you know DJEL, Eric Leffler, who passed over the weekend due to an illness, and 47 years of age, man. I call him E. E and I and Greg Conley, we shared the loft together in Jack's Beach. We did a lot of things together for a good period of time. He's been a friend of mine for a very long time. Just prayers to everybody out there. Thoughts and prayers, man. It's part of life, unfortunately, when we lose our loved ones. But if, I believe in the afterlife. I believe in heaven. I believe we all have a shot to get there. So that's where I'm trying to get to. That is for sure. Now, in the positive type of things, had a great weekend. Friday was absolutely insane for me. So after the radio show with Jaguars today, before I get into it, let's welcome in Grammage. Hi, Grammage. Grammage is on IR
morning,
for the moment. Not IR, but he's on the, at least doubtful on the injury list. But he's here because he's a tough son of a gun.
I'm in the medical tent.
That's right.
now.
How you do? You're in the medical tent.
I'm in the blue
you
tent.
You just
right
came
now.
out of it?
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm not bad. I was a little disappointed with the Super Bowl, man. I
fell asleep in the third quarter for a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I hate when the Super Bowl is a blowout because it's the last football game of the year.
Yeah.
So when it's like halftime or a little past halftime and the game's over, you're kind of like, well, I guess football's over. It kind of sucks because you kind of feel like you don't get that one last,
Well, there is no tomorrow for sure with Super Bowl Sunday, but I mean, geez, the combine is going to be here in 2 weeks. I mean, you're like right back into it.
Content-wise, there's plenty to talk about, but
I
mean, I like
even
games,
the football.
Man.
No, the games, of course.
But
now we got to, hear all the hype for a long time.
Like for you and I in this business, in this industry, and having we're chilling. There's never
always
not something to talk about. I just mean as a fan, getting to sit down on your couch, crack open a bag of chips and a cold beer, and watch a football game.
Yep.
Like I'm gonna
watch the XFL or whatever they're called these days. The UFL.
Right now, I'm watching college hoops.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at right now.
They'll be getting good at least when we get closer to March.
I'm pretty much set and get my fill until basketball ends.
Yeah,
and the NBA carries me to like early June because I like the NBA. Once that's over, it's a tough couple months for me having no sports.
I don't know,
because I'm not a baseball
guy. I think
guy.
there's always something going on, and whether there's a fight or. By the way, did you see that fight with? Did you see the highlights of the fight they were the middleweights, 185. One guy broke his nose, and he's trying to reset it while he's missing. The punch is still coming at him. And then afterwards, they're in the tunnel together after the fight, and they're congratulating whatever. And he's like, I was trying to tell you, you got to go the other way. You were pushing it the way it was broken. You're supposed to push it the other way. He's like, I'm trying to tell you during the fight. It was unbelievable. But anyway, I want to say so. I want to thank Damian Starkey Friday, of course, former bass player of Puddle of Mud. I went to his recording studio, and we recorded Man, What a Life, and I can't wait for it to be fully polished up and done. But what a kick-ass experience. Never done that before. Never knew how songs were recorded. I thought you just sang it from beginning to end, and you just kept doing it. No, you break it down, break it out, and do verses over and over and over the course, over and over, and then he picks the best one. So it was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool. Never done that before. Damian was in front of the board on the other side of the window and the glass, and I'm inside, with the mic on and the headphones on, the mic, and then the lyrics right there. It was a surreal experience, man. So
did you make it look
so
cool?
I felt pretty cool. Did
you have some shades on? Maybe a glass of brown water with you with some ice?
I didn't have shades on. I did not, but I had plenty in the system that got me through. Let's just say that.
I love.
It was a lot of fun, man.
I love old pictures of like Michael Jackson or Elvis or whoever in the recording studio, and they just look cool as hell, man.
Oh yeah.
They look so
the shades
cool.
Help. We played at Iggy's. Thanks to everybody for coming out to Iggy's on Saturday night. The Dad Bots had a hell of a show. It was so much fun. You guys were a great crowd. I wear the shades in the beginning. I'm a little just because it kind of, I don't know. It's almost like a crutch. You know what I mean? You can hide behind your glasses.
I'm a huge shades inside guy.
Yeah. Inside.
So it started
or at night, right?
I always wear my shades inside because in college I would lose my sunglasses all the time.
Yeah.
So I can't lose them if I just don't take them off.
If they're on your face, right.
So I'd sleep with them.
Yep. No doubt. Well, and you don't lose them that way, right?
Exactly.
All right, Eagles win Super Bowl 59, beating the Chiefs 40-22. 126 million people watched the Super Bowl. Listen, it was a blowout. I just tell you this, man. To be able to rattle Patrick Mahomes with only your 4 down linemen is absolutely incredible. I mean, that is, just think about that from a numbers standpoint. So they already have 1 extra blocker because they have 5, you have 4. You're probably throwing a chip in on occasion, so there's 6. And maybe they got to keep a tight end around. There's 7, and you're still pressuring Patrick Mahomes. You know how special that is? And you know what it does, as we probably could figure out. It's not rocket science. Now you drop the 7 into coverage, and you could do a lot of disguising and different things that'll really rattle that QB, especially when he's worried about getting hit all the time. I mean, he didn't stand a chance. He didn't, and he battled whatever. And then the offensive side, of course, they couldn't be stopped. They did control Saquon Barkley to a surprise, but they kept that pounding going. And then Jalen Hurts was absolutely incredible. 10 yards per attempt at 77% completion rate. That's pretty badass. The MVP, Jalen Hurts, of course. So congrats to the Eagles. I mean, what a great performance. I went to a party, went to my friend Greg Conley's house. I did leave at halftime, so I didn't watch the halftime performance. Not that I did it on purpose. I just really wasn't thinking about it. Got home, and then I got on the couch, and the third quarter, I took a little nap. I woke up, but I took a little nap. It was like, oh, man, I wish this game was more exciting. I know it was exciting for you Philadelphia Eagle fans. But I'm with you. I don't want a blowout, man. I like back and forth, or just a tough defensive, standout type game. But unless it's your team, I mean, of course, you're the Eagles. You're like,
if it's your team, game. The rules are totally different. If it's your team.
Some of the plays were spectacular. I mean, the bomb to Devontae Smith what a beautiful throw and catch.
Well,
that was absolutely insane. The way he placed that ball right there, deep down the middle.
That
Very
was
impressive.
also. That bomb to Devontae was good coaching, and good play calling in terms of it was a clear sign that, hey, we know we're up and we know we've got them. We are not sitting on this ball.
Put the pedal to
we
the
are
metal,
not getting
baby.
conservative. We are stepping on their throats, and we're not. We know what they don't want us to do, and we're gonna do it. And that was what, a 1-play drive or 2-play drive or whatever. Like, they didn't take a lot of time off the clock, but it's more point. It made the lead even more insurmountable.
Yep.
And that takes a coach. I think back to our guy Doug, who we just got rid of, but back in the 2017 Super Bowl, that's why they beat the Patriots. Because they never let up.
On the gas.
They never let up. And if you get conservative against a guy like Patrick Mahomes, you will lose.
Listen, my late father, I was in 6th grade when he told me, as a running back, if they're on the ground, you step on their necks and run over them until the whistle's done. You don't help them off the field, and they're the enemy until the game's over, period. You don't stop. Look, you go back to 2017 with our Jaguars. They got conservative. They got real conservative.
That's why
they were playing not to lose instead of playing to win, and that's why they came back. I know the whole wasn't down. That would have factored in without question, but they let them come back in. They went on prevent on defense, and they went real conservative on offense.
Correct. If you're
there, you know what got tight that game.
The Miles Jack wasn't down play became like the symbol for the game, and became a way of our fans and us to say we got screwed.
Right.
The reality is they lost that game because they sat on the ball the entire second half.
Yeah, without a doubt.
The reality is the Jaguars. Listen, I'll say it until I go to my grave. The Jaguars were better than the Patriots that year. They were a better football team.
They should have beat the Patriots.
But they're sure as hell not. But they're sure as hell not better when they play with one hand tied behind their back in the second half because they just want to sit on the ball. Right. And I think what happens with guys like Brady and Mahomes, because they're so great, is if you do get a lead on them, a lot of coaches and players and whatnot, you get this, like, you're almost like stunned you're winning. You're like, oh my God, we're up. And you want to do anything you can to just hang on to that instead of just continuing to do what got you there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Versus, like, the Jaguars in that game when they played the Patriots. If instead of the Patriots in that AFC title game, it had been the Ravens or just like some other random team, I think they'd have just kept playing normally and probably won the game. But because it's Brady and Belichick, and now it's Mahomes and Reed, that plays into psyche. You can't tell me it does. I think it absolutely does.
Yeah, well, especially with Brady, now and with Mahomes. But look, they played him 2 years ago, so I think they learned from that. I think they were very confident going in.
Sirianni,
and, man, they took care. Look, to me, the D line and Hurts won this game,
100%
without question, and that's incredible. It's incredible that. It reminded you of the Giants when they had the 4 rushers, and that's all they needed. Man, I wish, and I put it out there on Twitter, like, do we have it with our starting potential front 4? No, we don't.
No.
It's wishful thinking. But
what I saw more than anything,
I know if I'm the Chiefs, who I'm upgrading.
Oh my God. Well, here's the thing, though.
Tackle, please.
What I saw more than anything, Tommy, was, and look, the Chiefs tackles played a horrible game. They both did.
Terrible.
They were bad, and that they got to fix that. We all know that. But what I saw more than anything, and I think this has been true in the past in most years, if you have either a nose or a D tackle that just simply cannot be blocked, there's nothing an offense can do about that game plan wise. Because if your tackles are getting beat, if they're both getting beat, that's tough. But if one's getting beat, there's things you can do. You can have a running back to that side. You can chip. There's things you can do.
A nose you can double, but a 3 technique you can't double.
Well, if you have multiple, if you've got 2 defensive tackles, because how many times have we seen this here in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence, and it was happening to Mahomes on Sunday? Mahomes normally, because his tackles have been a liability all year. Normally, those edges get upfield,
step up and go out.
Correct. When he was stepping up into 2 guys in his lap.
He had nowhere to go.
And he had nowhere to go at all. When the interior of the pocket collapses,
one of the keys.
There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do.
Because you got to step up or the outside guys get you.
And I think football is so cyclical. Like, in the last 10 to 15 years with the passing game and the West Coast offense taking such a front seat to offense. Tackles and edges have been the premium guys in the draft, right? Who all gets picked? Tackles, edges. Yeah. I think maybe not top 10, but I think you're going to see more guards and centers and D tackles.
The guards just got to be really good.
They got to be really good,
really
of course.
athletic too, and big at the same time. So it's okay. Look, and they only went 11th, I think. That wasn't top 10, but he was a guard coming out of Colorado. He was fantastic, and you would draft that. That'd be worth drafting, as a guard.
And I just think more teams and more general managers around the league seeing who is winning titles and seeing who's competing at the highest level. You have to have both, of course.
I mean, you look at us. We've got edges that are really good, or at least fairly good to very good, but they're not as effective as they could be without that interior push.
Yeah.
I mean, you just need an interior push.
What I'm saying is, like, the last 10 to 15 years, the gap of the premium placed on tackles and edges relative to interior guys on both sides of the line, that gap has grown dramatically. Think
about this, Grammage. I mean, you think of all the great defensive tackles that have gone through, and we won't remember all of them, but they were really special type guys, like the Albert Hainsworth, the Jeffrey Simmonses, the Warren Sapps,
Aaron
Donalds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I don't think they're just falling off trees where you're going to just draft them that high. Those guys are like special. But I agree with you. I mean, tell me, Jeffrey Simmons, you kidding me?
Yeah.
And then they put that big guy from Texas next to him.
Sweat.
That's Sweat. That is a really tough combo. You can't double both of them every snap.
Yeah.
And then you throw in, Landry on the outside, and he can, that's when you have something. We thought they had something with Eric and Mason. I still think there's potential there, but you definitely have to address the interior of the defensive line. If that kid from Michigan's there at 5, I'm going D tackle. I think we need the beef. We need the presence. We need that stuff up the middle. And then look, second round, whatever, I'm addressing the interior offensive line. If I haven't addressed it in free agency, which we'll see who's going to be available out there. Everyone's talking about Mekhi Becton, and it is a great story. But just remember, he struggled for years at tackle. He flourished as a guard. But you hope it's just not a 1 year, because I know I'm going to get paid. You know what I mean? Which one are you? Are you the stud, or are you the one that struggled? You want to make sure he's a stud before you you give him any kind of big money. I would think anyway.
To the point of view, what you just said about the draft, we've disagreed on a couple things in the last couple weeks, Tommy. We could not agree on this more.
Yeah.
If Mason, I don't know how in the world. You don't. That guy. Listen, Ohio State.
He's not little.
No.
He's 325, and he can really move.
Ohio State massacred every team they played in the playoff. Good football teams.
Yep.
Destroyed them.
Yep.
Michigan was not a very good team this year.
Right.
Michigan beat them.
Yeah.
On their home field.
Yep.
Why? Because the interior of Michigan's defensive line could not be blocked.
That other guy's going to be a first rounder,
correct.
too.
Correct.
He's a beast, too.
But you tell me, Tommy.
2 for 1.
You tell me with this defense that we all know has to be dramatically improved in a variety of scheme, personnel, everything.
Yep.
You tell me that next year I get my 2 edges. I get Eric Armstead back inside. I get Mason Smith with another year of development. And I get Mason Graham.
Yep.
Now you got me excited about a D-line.
Yeah.
Now you got me feeling like I got dudes that can really kick some ass.
Yeah, and you got a younger guy in there with Mason Smith, that's going to eventually take over for Eric. I mean, Eric's not here long term, and if he has a year like he did last year, he's gone after this year. I would. Look,
I'm willing to.
Listen, you got to take care of the beef up front, or you're not going to do anything. It's just not going to happen. I don't care how good you are on the outside, it's eventually going to catch up to you, and you got to build it. I like what Liam says about building it on the inside. So let's make sure that happens.
And by the way, you can tell in some of the media that he's done here on 1010XL and when he was doing stuff for the Super Bowl and all that, you can tell Tony feels the same.
About what?
About the trenches.
Oh yeah,
he's a former line, so obviously. But you can tell that they have, and they still got to hire the GM, so we'll see with that. But if I had to guess,
another story, man.
if I had to guess, they are going to hire someone that has that same type of philosophy, because we always talk about how they all got to be on the same page.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I believe that those 3 individuals are going to have the same vision of, we got to build this inside out.
Yeah.
And the
I
positions.
mean, it's not rocket science, though, Grammage. I mean, come on. We you know what I mean? I mean, you'd think they would all know that. Doug didn't. Remember we talked about, remember the first year with the nose guy? We're like, why isn't he getting a nose? Why is he getting a nose, right? And then they struggled with the run. Remember that?
They're going to play a 3-4
Yeah.
with Devon Hamilton
Yeah,
playing
as
nose.
a nose. No. Not good. Not good.
Well, and it's not that it's. I agree with you. It's not necessarily rocket science, but I also think it's just. We talk about this all the time. It's just a difference of philosophy.
Here's the thing, man. And I'm open-minded and all that. I know people are excited. It's great. It's a new beginning. It's a new thing. The question's going to be, will Liam Cohen and his staff and Tony and whoever the GM is, will they get the right kind of players in there that feel the same way about the game and the team as they do? Because if they don't, and they just do it based on talent, we're going to have the same stuff over and over again. You got to get the right mentality of player that's going to fit into. I don't care. Everyone's talking about how young they're. 42 years of age. It doesn't matter to me. Now, experience is different, right? We got a lot of first timers, which whatever. Everybody's a first timer at some point. So hopefully they can do it right off the bat and get this team back to where they're in at least a somewhat of a contending situation sooner than later. But everyone's got to buy into it. And the honeymoon phase is great. Everyone loves everybody. But we haven't gotten into anything yet. You know what I mean? We don't have any idea, how Liam's going to run a practice, how vocal his people are. Anthony Campanelli, he sounds like he's a yeller, which is cool by me. But you better make sure guys are okay with that. I mean, you got to have the right mentality. I'm telling you, that's the secret sauce. It's not talent. It's not scheme. It is those, but it's that mentality. How important is the game to this individual? Not his side hustle stuff, not the money, not the fame, but how important is it for him to perform well? How much internal accountability does he put on himself to want to be great every single week? And I don't mean just on Sunday, every single week that you're part of the team.
If they start out slow again and they're 1-3 or something, and I see an Eric Armstead podcast clip about telling all the fans not to panic, I'm going to blow a gasket.
I know people out there be like, that's not fair, that's not right, but I don't know, man. I'd be like, listen, guys, once the regular season starts, can we just stop all the extracurricular? You get paid plenty of money to be a professional football player. I'm not telling you can't have your brand and persona and all that outside of the game when you're done. You should, and you want to build up, fine. But do it in the off season. Don't do it. And look, it's a cooking show. So what? Okay, fine. But it takes time away from preparing or resting or whatever, working out. I don't know. To me, and I know it's minor. I know it's a little nitpicky. But I'm sorry, the owner pays you a ton of money to be focused on what? On football, your job. So I don't know if Liam can pull that off. Maybe Tony can lay down the law or something. Hey, no extracurricular. Do it now while you have time, right? Do it now while we're just going to start workouts or whatever.
Just the problem I have with it, Tommy, is like, if you want to do your podcast or like whatever, that's fine. But don't be offended by the criticisms when they come. If you want to post clips when you're 1-3 and every single comment is stop talking, like don't first of all, don't be surprised, and second of all, don't be offended. It's just like anything else in life.
No, listen, you put content out there, you better have thick skin. Not everyone likes me and you. Not everyone likes me. I mostly mute those people, so I don't see what they say anyway because I really don't care. But I know there's people out there that don't appreciate how I am. They think I'm a little too hard from time to time. They think, I don't know, that, I'm not, I don't know what they think, to be honest with you, because I feel like I'm just speaking genuinely of how I see this team and learn from my experience as a player and doing this, bring it all together. But not everyone's going to like that, and it's okay. I told you this before. A mentor once told me, he's like, look, a third of people are going to like you, a third of the people aren't, and a third of the people aren't really going to care one way or the other. So if you can live with the third, go for it. Do what you want to do. And I was like, I can live with the third.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
doesn't bother me at all if the 2/3 aren't into it or don't like it.
That's my whole thing is like, don't like Eric posted something on Instagram or something a couple weeks ago. He was in the gym working out or something. And he did you see this? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
He posted something about like, you know, I've seen all the haters, whatever, like coming back with a vengeance, and it's like
whatever. I mean, the workout videos are just so
they kill me, man.
Great. You're great. You're supposed to be a great athlete. You're supposed to have all these muscles. You're supposed to look like how you look. You're supposed to move how you move. Why are you filming it for everybody to see?
Yeah.
Are they supposed to go, wow, look at that. Wow, he jumped 42 inches onto a box. Look at that guy. How about jumping out of a pool? That's kind of cool. If you could jump out of the shallow end of a pool, Tristan Wirfs did it. Remember that?
Yeah.
He did it before the draft or something, and he literally, his big ass, out of the shallow end of the pool, he was waist high and landed on the damn side of the pool, on the ground. Now, you want to do that? That's pretty impressive. Show me you moving around, I don't know. Just seems strange to me. You know what I mean? I mean, who cares? Just show up on Sunday. Just be a dominating player and quit the talk.
All that said,
I tell you, and I don't want to get into it because I just don't, but Eric forgets the one interview he had earlier in the year last year when he was asked about playing end. Yeah, they recruited me to play end. Yeah, the whole idea was for me to play end. And then he comes around and he's like, I wanted to play tackle. They wouldn't let me play, tackle. Like, what are you talking about, man? Give me a break. That doesn't make sense to me. And you're better as a tackle. You know you are.
And I just
a 9-year vet with your track record, you just go to the GM and be like, look, I don't care what we talked about. I need to play D tackle. Hey coach, I'm your D tackle. I'm not playing. I don't want to play end. If you need me to play end on rundowns, which he was okay against the run, fine. But you need me inside. I know that. You know that. So let's make it happen. Simple as that.
When it's 3rd and 7 and we need to get after the quarterback's ass, I'm going to be inside.
2nd and 12.
And by the way, the edges on the field are going to be Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen.
Yes.
It ain't going to be Miles Cole. And it ain't going to be Jeremiah Ledbetter on the inside. No. That man, I hope Campanelli puts that stuff to bed, dude. I'm thinking
about and I hate saying it like this, but you just kind of done over it with them. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, they've been here long enough. You know what they are. You just kind of...
In terms of the backups, you're saying?
Just the players, certain players. Like, you know what? We need to upgrade that. We need something new.
Yeah, I've been saying that the whole offseason. I'm like, I'm done with the Jeremiah Ledbetter experience. I'm done with on the offensive side. On the offensive side, I'm done with the, like, no disrespect, but I'm done with the Cooper Hodges experience. I'm done.
I'm done. I mean, I know they re-signed. I was done with the Walker Little experiment.
That's what I mean. Like,
they got to upgrade.
Yes, I've been saying this for weeks. I'm like, I'm just, we're already ushering in this kind of whole new chapter of new blood.
Right.
We're new coaching staff, new attitude, new EVP. There's going to be a new GM. Yeah. Like, is now not the time to kind of shed a lot of that old guard?
Yep.
And look, you've got your guys
fresh
that
start. Yeah, you're gonna keep your core.
Of course,
you're gonna keep your core.
But like, I mean,
are you keeping Wingard? Or are you tired of Wingard? I'm a little tired that he talks too much.
I don't really care either way with him.
Yeah,
if they got rid of him,
he is a he's got. I mean, he makes plays. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I don't know. I'm kind of over him too.
I like what he brings on special teams.
Yeah.
And Daniel Thomas, same thing.
Oh, DT's fantastic. If you're going to keep him for that, I guess,
But DT player-wise is kind of the same thing, but he just kind of shuts up and plays.
DT's a player. I like him
really
at safety.
Good.
He's not going to be a starter, but he can play. He can make plays. There's no doubt about that. All right, the staff is all together. Fantastic. I do find it funny, you Jags out there comparing the Jags to the Eagles. Look how close we were to beating the Eagles. I'm like, you're not close. So does Carolina think they're close to being in the Super Bowl too because they almost beat Kansas City? They lost by 1, I think, didn't they, or 2?
Yeah.
Like they took Kansas City nose to the wire. They're not close. You fans are funny. I get it. You're hyped up. It's cool. It's cool. I'm not trying to take it away from you, but
if you want to play that
please.
game, you can do that with every single team
Pretty
in
much
the
every
NFL.
team. Yeah. Look how close we are.
Like you can literally do that with
Carolina's like, man, look how close we are. Kansas City's in the Super Bowl. So close. Almost there. Almost there. Hey, listen, we hope we can get there. That's the whole goal, right? Wouldn't that be fantastic?
Didn't the Raiders beat the Ravens?
What's that?
The Raiders beat the Ravens, I'm pretty sure, like week 2 or something of the season.
Oh,
And-
right.
And they were in the divisional. So I guess the Raiders are on the cusp of the divisional round of the playoffs too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah, no doubt. We hope they get there. We sure do, man. Let's see what they can do in the offseason. Looks like February 18th through the 4th of March, franchise transition tags. The combine starts on the 24th of February, runs through March 3rd. March 12th is the opening of the season. Free agency begins. April 7th, a new coach can start his offseason. 2-week head start from the rest. The draft is the end of April, so we'll look forward to all of that. I did write final team stats of the Super Bowl. We'll get into that. News around the league looks like Purdy will be extended in San Fran. They're going to do everything they can, and they should. He's great for that offense, turning into his offense. Obviously, they got to be better as well. Aaron Rodgers to be let go of the New York Jets. I mean, I don't blame Aaron Glenn. I wouldn't hang my hat on Aaron Rodgers either. You know what I mean? Not unless we're drafting a QB in the first round. I'm not going in there like that. That's the thing, you know. And I think you look at like the GM search, and I know they're not going to admit this, and I'm not saying I'm right, but when you think about how you go about bringing in GMs and head coaches and whatnot, I mean, you brought in the head coach, now you're trying to bring in a GM, and the GM's sitting there going, well, I didn't hire the coach. I didn't hire the quarterback. I mean, neither one of them are my guys. I like them, and I'm taking the job, but it's kind of weird. Like, that's a tough way to fill it, right? As opposed to you got a GM who's like, yeah, let's go get this coach, and yeah, I got the first pick. Let's take this guy. You know what I mean? I mean, that's you would think would go that way, but
So
hopefully there's not a hang up because, I mean, look, again, I don't, and I'm not trying to say I know what everything, because I don't, but to have all three, the GM, Tony, and Cohen, report to Shad without anybody in between, Shad, all of a sudden Shad knows football, and you know what I mean? I know he's trying. He's a great owner. I'm not saying that he's not, but all of a sudden we trust that. I don't know. I would want some veteran in there that is going to keep it straight and then deliver it to the owner.
The sense I get is that's the politically correct thing for them to say to make it feel like everybody has equal power. But I think in reality, it's really going to be the head coach and the GM do their things respectively. And if things aren't going well for whatever reason, Shad's going to ask Tony his opinion.
Yeah.
I truthfully believe Tony, it kind of is in between. That's my personal opinion.
That's another first timer though. He's never done it.
I don't disagree, but I think this goes back to the conversation we had a few weeks ago. If Tony was the GM and he was or he was making contracts and he was making draft picks, then different story. But I feel like his role is different than what Coughlin did, and I feel like it's more so just when things aren't going well, what is it someone who knows football, knows what it needs to look, what's their opinion on why? And because Shad can't always tell why. And instead of having someone like Trent Baalke feed him bad information to save his own ass, let's have Tony, who's kind of in the middle, kind of in between, and can give a true, objective, unbiased opinion.
It's not going to be unbiased, but...
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
At least knowledgeable opinion, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, look, to have an opinion is one thing. To, make a decision's another. You know?
100%.
So he'll learn. Listen, Tony's a very smart guy. Yeah, I mean, he can figure it out. Maybe he is that buffer. But, again, you look at Liam, and I'm happy Liam's here. I wish him nothing but the best, but he's a first-timer. Nobody else was banging on his door to become head coach. They say they're his good. I hope it all works out. I hope it's a perfect match. But I don't know. I mean, Tony's first. How does he know it's a perfect match? I mean, how do anybody know? We don't know. But we hope for the best, It's good. I just think that's a lot of risk for our organization to have all these first-timers running the show. And maybe it's fantastic and it works out tremendously. Great. But if it doesn't, then it's just another failure, and then here we go again. But hopefully it's not. So let's beef up the O-line. Let's beef up the D-line. Get a new attitude. You know what I really care? Like I had in my notes about Anthony Campanelli, or however you pronounce his name. Sorry, or Anthony's his name, right? No, is it Anthony or Mark?
Anthony.
Anthony. I love the talk. We're a tough town. We're tough. We're going to be tough. Just get your players to do their job. Just get them to do their job and always know what they're doing. Because if they did that last year, we wouldn't have had 4 wins. We'd had a lot more than 4 wins.
They got to play with some edge too, man.
I think they have some attitude, you know what I mean? But they need more. I agree, but just do your job. I mean, think about how many mess-ups there were. If I could say the F word, I would, but you told me to keep them down. Gravity City, it's like, hey, can you keep the F-bombs down? Like, thought I could do that on this show. You know what I mean? But come on, that's what they got to get. So that's why, I'm still a little okay, wait and see, because you got to get that across.
Yeah.
On offense, too, how many times do the receivers run the damn wrong routes?
Or drop the ball.
Or whatever. The illegal setup, the illegal motion, the illegal formation, everything. Is that going to change? If it don't change, it's not going to matter. You know what I'm saying? That's what I got to see change and really be like, all right, these guys, this is it. They're going to bring that change. They're going to hold them all accountable. I don't care how old they are. It doesn't matter. Just make sure they understand who the boss is and who's going to be holding you accountable. And also who's going to be rewarding you as well. Because it's got to be equal. That's one thing you learned about today. The delivery's got be a little different. But that adulation's got to be there. We all want it. We wanted it as kids from our parents. We wanted it as athletes from our coaches. You want that recognition of good play. And it better be, in my opinion, it better be as equal to the critique. Because when it is, the critique's easier for them to take. Because they know what's on the other side if I do it well. Maybe it's a day off. Maybe it's some kind of reward. Or maybe it's just a pat on the back saying, hey, great job. That was great. Or a game ball. Or whatever. Being announced in front of the team for your effort. Whatever it may be. That adulation's got to be there. So can this group of coaches do that? Can they deliver that to the locker room where the players are like, man, I'll do anything for this coach. He's going to tell me when I do well, going to get on me when I don't. I'm cool with that. As long as it's fair and it's honest and it's consistent. Every player, for the most part, can wrap themselves around that and give you everything they got if you can promise them that and deliver on that.
I know we're moving on from the old coaching staff, but one of my biggest critiques, I felt like, especially on the offensive side of the ball with the old staff, and I felt like I always got this vibe with Doug in his post-game press conferences. It felt like there were a lot of fundamentals of the game that you have to have at every position that were just assumed were going to be there.
Right.
Right. Not false starting, lining up correctly.
What's on paper is expected to be on the field.
Yeah. Not
but forgetting the human element comes in.
Right.
Yep.
Running, route timing being correct, not doing illegal formations, like those things that are like fundamental things that are kind of like early camp stage learning type of things. They clearly weren't there, but it felt like every week Doug kind of just assumed they would be.
Yeah, we'll clean it up. We'll clean it up. We'll clean it up.
Right. And it never got cleaned up. Doug, press, it was on defense too. Yeah. It was on both sides of the ball.
Oh, yeah,
but
for sure.
One of my biggest hopes for this new staff is they hit the reset button with all that and say, we got to build this from the ground up and make sure that these small little details are fundamentally sound, and they are there. And they're going to have mistakes throughout the year. Like, breaking news, someone's going to false start at some point this year. Someone's going to drop a pass, whatever.
And it's okay,
but
once in a while.
But if the amount of times that they made mistakes last year was a 10 out of 10, it's got to be a 2 or 3 out of 10.
1 or 2.
1 or 2, sure. Like, it's got to be
2,
far less.
Yeah.
And it's got to be understood that we are going to be a fundamentally sound football team that is not going to beat ourselves.
Every snap.
Because if that's the NFL is too good, teams are too good, bro. Right. If you beat yourself, you're gonna lose. You go back to the Miami Dolphins game. Travis Etienne fumbling when he's 2 yards away from the goal line.
Right.
The next week, illegal formation cost them a touchdown. That probably lost them that game. That's 2 plays.
Next play.
Right.
Was a bomb.
Right, correct. That's 2 plays. I guess you could say 3 because the bomb. That's 3 plays that might go different, and they might be 2-0.
Yeah. Right.
And who knows?
And then who knows where it goes from there.
Right.
Right.
Little
Momentum
stuff.
Matters.
It's little stuff, man. And I got the feeling that the last staff never placed a big enough emphasis on little, small, detail, fundamental
attention
things.
to detail.
Yes.
No, totally agree with that. It was almost like it'll work itself out, but it doesn't.
Correct.
You have to make sure it works it out. It gets worked out. For sure. Which leads me into Tom Izzo's comments on playing time. I saw this earlier today. I was up early, up on Twitter like I normally am, and Izzo was talking about playing time. He's like, look, I put him on the bench, and then they got to earn their way back onto the starting lineup. Now, I don't know if you could totally do that in the NFL with the money because, it's tough to go to the owner and be like, I got to sit him for a week or 2 or a series or whatever. But here's the thing. Can Liam, does he have that same ideology, and can he deliver it, and will they accept it? Now, here's my thought, and I don't know if quest is the right word, but my hope would be that Tony and Liam and whoever the GM is sits in front of Shad Khan and says, Shad, we need your blessing to be able to discipline guys with playing time when they're not playing it, when they're not doing it the right way. Whether their attitude's bad, they keep making the same mistakes, whatever. Now, there's limitations. You're not just going to bench Trevor. I understand that. That would take a lot. I'm not saying that, and I don't expect that to be the case. But the rest, for the majority, you got to be able to say, you know what, sit him down. I don't care we're paying him whatever millions a year. I don't care. And guess what? The owner don't care either because he's making a ton of money anyway. Although that's cost him a lot of money, they're making hand over fist. They're billionaires. They're going to continue to be billionaires. It's going to keep compounding. Yeah, this is a lot, but to them it's whatever. So I have the authority, and I hope Liam and Tony can deliver this to the team. I have full authority to sit guys who aren't doing the job the right way, period. And if Shad Khan would do that, would allow that, and it is hard, I get it. Ego can get in the way. You're pissed off because you paid all this money and the guy's not performing, whatever the case may be. But you want a new beginning, you want to reset, give Liam Cohen that authoritative measure where he can say, you know what, you come here, go sit down. Go sit down. You want to line up off sides? You want to line up off sides as an end? Go sit down. Go. I don't care. You're out for the series. I don't care. You don't get the rep. You know what I mean? You want to again miss a coverage on defense. You want to be out of position. You want to run the wrong route. You want to continuously do this kind of crap. Guess what? I've got backups that are dying to get in here. And that's another thing they better do, Grammage. They better upgrade their backups. They better upgrade them to where they can step in and actually start if need be. Might not fill it all the way to the top, but they got to be at least pretty darn good players that can hold the fort down. So you better invest in some really good backups so you can do these kinds of things. And you got plenty of money in the tank to do that, plenty in the cap space and to figure all that out. So I think if you can get that kind of thing going, you can change the culture in that locker room. Instead of, we'll get them next time. Because that's what's ingrained in their head. That's what they're used to. Hey, you want to stay and watch film? Nah. Do it tomorrow. Do it later at home. Then they get home, they don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Those types of things. So hopefully we can get that all together. Please check out TommyMac.net. You'll see Team Tommy Mac there, the group of businesses that I personally endorse. Absolutely love them. Go to the page. You'll see their logo. Click on their logo, and they'll take you right to the respective websites. When I post them on social media, especially on Facebook, I tag their handle each and every time. You can visit their Facebook page as well. Carpet Man Flooring, Morgan & Morgan, Chris Lucero's Bail Bonds, J-Dog Junk Removal and Hauling, Azar Sausage, Fields Cadillac, Salt Air Inn and Suites, Freedom Finance, Code Ninjas, Newmark Phoenix Realty Group, and Family Tradition Specialty Foods. I use them all. Very proud to represent them all, and you can check them all out at TommyMac.net. So interesting enough, final team stat review of the year, Grammage, Super Bowl 59 with the Chiefs and the Eagles. How about this? Both teams' quarterbacks were the leading rushers on a yards per carry basis and by a yards basis. How about that? Jalen Hurts outrushed Saquon Barkley. That's insane.
That is crazy.
That's insane. Saquon was 2.3 yards per carry for Saquon. They bottled him up. Now, I'm not looking for a pat on the back because they killed him right from the get-go. I didn't see that coming, but I thought that Jalen would have to run to really do some damage, and, man, did he ever. And the throws were great. Gosh, he was just on point. You know, really on point. Just absolutely fantastic. How about this? So the Chiefs were sacked 6 times. Mahomes sacked 6 times. Jalen Hurts sacked twice. Jalen Hurts got hit 3 times. QB hits 3. At least recorded. A lot of those ESPN stats are off, but at least recorded on ESPN. 11 QB hits to Mahomes. Tell me that's not a big difference. 11-3. Getting hit. You could probably add some to both sides. Maybe 15-6 or 7. I mean, that's almost double. He was harassed all night. And of course, Jalen Hurts kept clean for the most part. He did a lot of damage with his legs. Turnover ratio, Eagles +2. Third down, they were both bad on third down, so the defense has got it done there. But, I mean, when you're up so much, you know, that can be a little deceiving. They didn't do anything. They didn't do anything on the ground, neither team, except the quarterbacks. And the Eagles took care of business. Great pick 6 by DeJean. Man, what a great return as well. You know, you could tell that Mahomes got rattled right away, and it didn't stop. And they kept getting after him. And you see what that can to one of the greatest quarterbacks that we've seen in the modern era in Patrick Mahomes. Even he gets rattled. We know it happens. We see it here. Although I wouldn't say Trevor, he got rattled this year. I don't think he's been rattled this past season. I don't think he was rattled. He's pretty good in that regard. But look, when you're getting there with 4, and I'm getting hit every time I step up or I can't go nowhere, and then they got me all covered down. I mean, you're looking at, I mean, I don't know. I've never been in a dogfight in the air, but think about that. You're looking out through the sky, and there's your guys and then 7 of theirs, and you got 3 or 4, and you're like, whoa, where do I go? And they're coming, and they're hitting me. So great job by Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles. Great job by Jalen Hurts. Great job by Howie Roseman. Man, he knows how to pick a team. I like their coach. You know, their players respond to the coach. And he had a lot to prove, Nick Sirianni, so good for him. Got the job done. Should get a nice fat extension. I know I would want one. Sonny asks, who knows? Maybe Kevin doesn't have the juice to do it, and Cohen does. He's got Baselli to back him up, so maybe that'll help. No question about it. Yards per attempt, 8 yards per attempt for Mahomes, 66%. 10 yards per attempt, 77% for Jalen Hurts. Absolutely incredible. Both throw picks. Jalen 1, Mahomes 2, 1 for a 6. Yeah, just harassed all night, man. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. You can give me all this, speed and, finesse and all this stuff, but give me the guys in the middle. Give me the guys that are banging every single snap, and that's what it takes. O-line, D-line, you name it. You can go across our guys and figure out where we need to upgrade. We know where that's at. And if they can get that and they get everybody to buy into this new coach and that style, I'm telling you, you can get it done, man. It's all attitude. I've said that for years now. I know everybody, you want to blame this, you want to blame that. If the attitude was better, they'd have had much more success on the field. There's no question in my mind. If they cared a little bit more, they would have done way better than a 4-win season. And last year there wouldn't have been a collapse. You would have been back in the playoffs. You wouldn't let your head get in the clouds thinking you arrived after week 11. But you did. You did, and you know you did. You weren't doing what you had to do to finish. And then this year was just, an annihilation, just absolutely terrible. But if you clean up the attitude, you clean up the mistakes, and I mean scrub them, disinfect them, burn them, throw them in the fire and get rid of them. And don't ever let them come back to haunt you again. And you got a shot at turning this thing around. All right, that's going to do it for me. Thanks so much for hanging out. Really appreciate it. Hey, God bless my friend DJ EL. Eric, we miss you, man. We already miss you. Such a shame that you had to leave this earth early. I know you're in good hands with the Lord, man, and one day we will see you again. Thoughts and prayers to everybody that I mentioned earlier in the show, from Bell and Coach Teron, DJ EL, Chris Moulton, and anybody that has happened to, man. Really, really unbelievable. Oh, and Kevin Porter's brother, Brian. Yeah, I wanted to mention him. So, hey, thoughts and prayers to everybody. God bless, and God's peace and grace be with every single one of you. We'll be back on Friday. I'll be back at it with Jaguars Today, and then we'll actually, before that show, we'll do Catching Up. Hopefully the song is going to be ready soon. I can't wait. Man, What a Life, written by Damian Starkey and yours truly, and sang last Friday in the recording studio. It was absolutely incredible. Thanks to everybody who came out to Iggy's and watched the Dad Bods perform. We had an absolute blast. We're not playing until March 29th, so we're going to try to fill a gap here or there if we can. And then we're supposed to play at Ragtime on the 22nd of February, but they closed, so we're not going to do that. And now one of the guys is traveling that weekend, so we got to figure that out. But we will be back on stage at the local in Neptune Beach on March 29th. So until next time, stay safe, be cool. Thanks for all the love. Thanks for all the support. Check out TommyMac.net, please. Thanks to Team Tommy Mac. Thanks to 1010XL and Grammage, who had to run out. Peace and love to all you out there. Have a great day. Stay safe and be cool. Be cool and stay safe. And we'll see you right here and next time on Catching Up with Tommy Mac. Peace and love, everybody.